Record. So, hi everyone, this is January the 15th, 2025. Happy New Year to everyone. I think, yeah, this is the CAPV office hours meeting. We follow the code of conduct, so please be nice to each other. And I think we can skip introducing ourselves because we all know each other here. There are no new people here. So let's maybe dig right into the news and updates. We have 2 points here. First, Happy New Year 2025. Second one, I think that's from you, Neil. The multi-disk feature has been merged. You want to add something here?
Yep, we've got it merged, and I've started to update all of Red Hat's OpenShift with it. And so I've been doing a lot of testing on it, and which is going to lead me to a discussion in a little bit. But thank you, everybody, for helping me through that. That was technically my first feature enhancement in CAPI, and let alone CAPV, right? So, so thank you, everyone, for your feedback. That was very much appreciated, and I learned a lot.
Thanks for helping contributing. So yeah, take off your discussion point, then I would say.
Yeah, so the discussion I have here is I've been doing some testing on limits, and one of the things I noticed documented in the vSphere documentation is that the max disk size that's allowed for a virtual machine is 62 terabytes. I say terabytes because it's represented as capital T, capital B in the documentation, but a lot of what we configure in OpenShift is like gigabits, right? Capital G, little I, capital B. And through my testing, what I was noticing is if I convert the gigabits to bytes and upload that information when creating that cluster, it matches one for one with what I'm doing. But in the UI, it's showing a capital G, capital B, which when I had read the documentation, I assumed those were gigabytes, which is slightly different byte translation, right? And so when I'm setting the limits, I want to make sure I'm setting them correct. So my question is in the documentation, capital G, capital B is represented as what? Is that really what I think it is, or am I misreading that?
Good question.
I think we don't really know more than what you can infer from the CAPV source code and the public documentation.
Yeah, vCenter was showing the values kind of what I would expect, but I think I interpreted the max value wrong. So I think for the 62 terabytes, I think it's TB. And so if I do my conversion that way, then it makes sense with when I'm setting the byte count across. And so I just need to make sure that we're setting the right limits, because as part of CAPV, I didn't set a limit because I wasn't sure if we wanted to in CAPV to prevent you from going too large. But one of the things that Joel Speed here at Red Hat was having me do was try to set limits on that. Because I figured, if you set it too big, vSphere would just reject it, and I was fine with that. But he wants us to prevent it before even generating the machine spec. So when I set it to 62, which translates to 57 point something TB bits, that when I set that across, it was 57, not 62, which is why I got that confusion factor going. I could change it to match with what I'm seeing, which is, when it says 62 terabytes, it's really TB bytes, and I can just make that work as is and not try to do any silly conversion.
I mean, another way to look at this is maybe, do you think there is like a sane limit which might be a little bit below what is technically possible in vCenter?
That's what I was curious, but I don't know tons about vCenter, so I've only been working with it for a year and a half now. So I asked a few guys
more
here.
like, is it, let's say you from a product perspective, do you want to support people that have Kubernetes nodes with like 60 terabytes of disk?
Personally, no. That's really, really
like,
large for,
I don't know, maybe like
a
few terabytes is fine. Yeah, no, I mean, the problem is we really don't know more than you do, or at least I don't.
No, I mean, that's a great question. And that's one of the things I've been bouncing around with my teams is, even though the limit is that in vCenter or in vSphere, does it make sense for us to do it? right? Because in reality, I think most people, for at least our use cases, are probably doing like 10 gigabyte disks for etcd storage, right? Is one of the mounts, and they might do a swap. And they might do container storage was the other use case that we're hearing a lot of. So that way, instead of using the OS disk, we have that over there. So as we upgrade the OS, we don't have to worry about those images preventing our upgrade from happening on those machines. And I think that's a totally valid question, and it's up for debate if you guys think that there's a limit we should have as well. That's not the true max.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have an opinion on it, but I think it could be interesting to set something like 1 or 2 or 3 terabytes, and then get people, hey, I need more, and then you can ask them why.
Okay, no, I like that. I mean, that's
But
good
yeah,
feedback.
I mean, it's a product decision on your side, right? In the end, I mean, sure, there's that question of what is technically possible with vCenter, and we don't really have a good answer to that. But then there's definitely also like additional question on your side, like, do you want to let people create machines with this that are that huge?
Right. No, makes sense.
Christian, you added a, yeah.
Yep, I added a link to some knowledge base article which mentions the 62 terabytes. It also mentions
Yeah,
other limits, like the file system used could limit the size to, like, for example, X3 is mentioned with 16 terabytes. I don't know if that's the maximum for X3 nowadays, or
right.
yeah. But yeah, no other opinion on that, like Stefan already mentioned.
No, that's the exact same doc that I've been reading. So I've got that in our documentation for our enhancement as well. That's why I got that confusion, is because it says capital T, capital B, and I've been using that versus TB bytes. So.
Yep.
All right, well, thank you for that. I'm going to go back and talk with Joel a little bit more, because I think I like your idea, maybe just starting it smaller and growing if someone really truly needs it. I just wanted to make sure we weren't going to send something that was going to give us an error code from vCenter's perspective, right, when we make that request.
Yep.
Makes sense.
What I also don't know is if vCenter only gives you an error when you go over like the technical absolute max value documented somewhere, or if it gives you also an error if there's simply not enough space available, which then
Right.
could be a lot lower than that. I mean, depending how full your storage is, right? I mean, so I don't know if there's like an additional point like that you want to, depending on the usage of your storage, whatever you use, that is a bit dynamic actually.
Right. Cool. Thank you.
Okay. With that, it would be now time for last second topics. If not, I think we could call it a day. Once, twice, 3 times. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.